Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and hopefully my allergies aren't going to be as bad in this video. Today, we're going to be talking about regrets. We're going to be talking about changes to the channels, and we're going to be talking not necessarily about tea, but we're going to be talking about things I've seen, things I've experienced over the course of the last 4 years as a content creator, what I'm going to change going forward, and why you might actually be surprised about some of the people I look up to and some of the people I actually am, have difficulties with or wish I'd spoken up more about. So let's go ahead and dig in. This is likely going to be the last style video like this. I've really wanted to take my time, evaluate my process, do a couple experiments as I am transitioning back into the content creation world. Now, many of you, if you guys are familiar with Ready Player Will and Jay Benson, are aware that he has a podcast going on Mondays. I will be on that podcast tomorrow, so make sure, just to give us a little plug, that you come by and see me. I'm not sure how much votive I'll actually be able to talk about, but I'm looking forward to seeing and hanging out with the guys once again, and it'll actually be my first time hanging out with Jay Benson, and it's one of those surreal moments where, like, he was a viewer of mine for so long, and now to see him be a successful content creator is absolutely inspiring and incredible. So what do I want to talk about today? What's kind of on the list? And I have 4 things that I want to touch on and just talk about my experience and talk about things that I've thought about and reflections that I've had over the years that people may not understand or even be aware of. And that's going to be specifically regarding Chicken Little, my own pride. We're going to be talking about kind of my channel and the focus on LGBTQ, why I made that shift and how I've kind of shifted back a little bit in order to kind of align with my brand, and monetization we are going to be talking about as well. Now, the first thing that was on my list to talk about was going to be Chicken Little. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the Chicken Little meme of both myself and Cabbage, originating from Cabbage, a long time ago, when I was probably in my first year of content creation, I made a video talking about how the polls were rigged, and it had false data in it, and it was a video that was very much appearing to be real. I thought it was real when I produced the video, but it actually wasn't. And Cabbage, another content creator, basically made a video calling me a Chicken Little, saying the sky is falling, etc., etc. And I just want to say, like, he was absolutely right. And I think many people since that moment have really kind of believed that I have a beef or a frustration with Cabbage, and I did for a while, but all of the criticism that Cabbage has leveraged towards me has always been productive, helpful. It's been feedback that's been incorporated into my channel. And when you are a content creator and you are out here kind of doing your own work and trying to figure out what's going to work, what's not going to work, a lot of the times you don't have people to give you feedback. You go into any business, any corporation, and people are going to hold you accountable. They're going to tell you what you are and aren't doing wrong. And you have to be humble enough in order to take that and incorporate that into your style to improve yourself. And in content creation, that just doesn't exist. You have to be the arbiter of your own improvement and the arbiter of your own growth. And so for a long time, I think Cabbage was seen as having a rivalry with me, and I think Cabbage and I over the years have both kind of like disregarded that. I think we're both kind of our own independent people. We don't particularly love each other and hang out, like, for example, Orange and me. That's also not particularly Cabbage's style, right? And so just by the nature of us kind of being opposite types of personalities, I think people immediately jump to the fact that we clash or that we fight. And I do want to say, like, there is a large amount of respect that I have for him around improving my content. And when I am looking at things like monetization, when I'm looking at things like kind of putting out information that has been false in the past, he is one of those people where I do have to say, for the most part, he was right. And this ties a little bit into monetization, because I am looking at not really monetizing my channel anymore. I think a lot of that, maybe I will be taking sponsorships of some types. I'm not really looking at ad revenue, and I'll probably be pretty picky on the types of sponsorships that I take. I think if anything, I would probably take ad revenue first and then transition to sponsorships for games that I would enjoy. Now, why this shift and what's kind of my theory behind it? And I think I was put in my most awkward positions, in my most powerful positions, and in my most uncomfortable positions when it did come to sponsorships, particularly when you're working with international companies and you have intermediaries. There are things that go on that are relatively surprising, relatively shady, and to be frank, quite uncomfortable. And I think everything around monetization has probably been the most uncomfortable thing about my channel. Not to mention, it does leave you in a situation like my channel was, and to be candid, Orange's as well, where we both had to go back to work, right? Our channels were basically locked into ad revenue that we were making, and almost overnight, due to a change that Amazon made, the substantial income that we made from our channels just immediately shifted. We're talking down probably from making candidly about $4,000 to $5,000 a month, which would be about a livable wage in America, down to as low as $1,000 to $2,000 per month. And while you still can live on that, it was almost like a huge kind of shift in the moment that I don't think any of us were expecting. And you saw the shift in the community. You saw Orange go back to work. You saw me switch games to Ni no Kuni, trying to make that work. And I really think that aspect of monetization, that aspect of kind of the capability to control your channel, is really unhealthy. I think it also put me in positions where I wish I could have spoken up. And even to this day, there are things I wish I could have said that I still can't say because I'm tied to NDAs. Now, there are some things I can say, right? Like I can talk about how, for example, Justin said not to embarrass him before we went on a live stream. Like that was really dehumanizing, right? Like if you can imagine going on a live stream for a company that's one that you've admired for your entire life, and then to be told not to embarrass somebody because of a slip of a word or because of the style of your content, that's pretty embarrassing, right? Like that's pretty mortifying. And so there are times like that where like I wish I had been able to speak up, and I wish I had had more courage, and I didn't because of monetization, because I thought I had to be kind of this person in this environment if I wanted to stay in this environment, right? And candidly, now that's no longer the case, and I think my channel will only grow because of it. The last thing I want to talk about, and sorry, my allergies are kicking in again, is going to be kind of the LGBTQ representation on my channel. Now, sorry guys. Candidly, I think I had a shift that went a little bit too far, and so I've dialed that back a little bit. And I think it is important to be open and candid about being gay. I think that is very important to me. I still plan on keeping the LGBT flags on my thumbnails so that people can see representation in their community. I know a lot of you guys are probably coming from an American perspective, a Canadian perspective. Oh my God, this is just like Cocoa Puffs going off now. Like they're all going off. And a lot of you are kind of used to a Western narrative of you know, maybe people are too outspoken, or like you tend to have extreme left and extreme right. Are we really doing this in the middle of a video, Cocoa Puff? And I do agree that a lot of people don't like to have things thrown in their face or to be told that a certain lifestyle or a certain living style is correct. But on the other side of things, it is inherently tied to who I am. And I have had far more people reach out to me, being able to connect with me or see me as a gay content creator, because they live in countries where being able to see LGBTQ representation doesn't exist. And so when I think about how I want to role model myself in the future, I definitely do want to continue being unapologetically gay, but I don't want it necessarily to be the definition or the role of my channel, which I did kind of shift a little bit too hard for a while there. So a lot of this kind of return to content creation, I'm going slow. I'm kind of reevaluating. I'm taking into account things that Cabbage said, things I've learned, monetization, right? Things that all of you guys have said, and I'm trying to incorporate it to make better content and make a better channel. Now, that's mostly all I had to say today. If any of you guys have anything to say, please put it down in the comment section. And my throat is like dying right now, so y'all have a good rest of your day.